guys go for this plan, let me do one thing. Yesterday, guys, I deleted my cluster. I show you how to delete because they keep on having the bill per hourly basis. Okay, so let me launch my cluster. It will take some time, maybe 20 minutes. Okay, so there's a command I told you yesterday to create the cluster of Kubernetes. Let me give a cluster name Linux World 12345. So this command will contact to my AWS EKS service and launch the cluster automatically. Okay, so by the meantime, I'll explain this cluster to be ready for our practical, right? Today's, guys, the plan is very exhaustive or detailed because there would be a lot of tool we are going to learn or implement it today. Plus, we also implement one project. So the one of the main part would be we are going to set up one project or the capstone project today. This is the one plan. And if you talk about a tool, obviously we go more deep into Kubernetes. Okay, then we will go for Argo CD as a tool. Then we go for Istio service mesh. Then we go for Prometheus and Grafana as a tool. Okay, and there will be many sub tools. I'll quickly introduce. For example, one tool with Istio, big Kiali. We'll discuss about Agar. Okay, we will discuss very quickly about ELK stack or maybe Loki. Okay, and many more maybe. while doing this setup, there will be some more tool gonna come up. But when I say Kubernetes, so in the Kubernetes, guys, there will be many tools to be discussed, right? Concept. For example, in my last class, I was talking about the pod in the Kubernetes. I talk about the service, load balancer. I was talking about deployment, replica set. Okay, so all the things I explained you in my last class. Okay, but there will be many more component of Kubernetes we'll see. We'll talk about storage class. We'll talk about PV, persistent volume. We'll talk about PVC. We'll talk about secret. And there's some challenges in the secret that we don't use secret directly. Instead, we go for some better way of managing the secret. One of the way could be vault, like Hasikoff vault or or sealed secret. Okay, then we'll talk about daemon set. We'll talk about stateless or stateful set, and many more CRDs. Okay, and could be many more. So these are the guys plan for today. Most of the term what I use here would be done by me practically, step by step, and I'll keep on having multiple break as a lab time to you guys can also perform with me. Okay, some of the concepts I will quickly touch or base to give you a conceptual idea. Okay, so that is the guys quick plan. Okay, so let me quickly brief some more capability of the Kubernetes. Okay, by the meantime the setup is going on. One more thing I would like to tell you guys, if you talk about Docker that I was talking about yesterday, is a big tool. There will be many things in the world of Docker you guys can do. But main thing that you might understood is a Docker file, because we have a custom requirement, and all of my requirement I want to pack together in a image. This called custom image, what we have created or built with the help of Docker file. Okay, and some of the keyword that is required to know about Dockerfile, I explain to you, okay, like entry point, from keyword, or run keyword, or and some other keyword also. Okay, but there's one more concept, guys, in the Dockerfile. Okay, this very important concept. There's a higher chance in the interview they will definitely ask you. It's called multi-stage build. Okay, so that will definitely ask. So right now what I'm doing, I am what I'm doing, I am not going to teach this topic right now, because it take again one or 2 hour, at least 1 hour to understand and do the practical implementation of this topic. So what I'll do, guys, today, after today's class, I'll share one of my training video, complete video, obviously free, to you guys in your #13 portal. Okay, so I suggest, guys, before the interview, whoever would be shortlist, so even though you guys does not shortlist, at least you should know this very interesting concept. We use a lot, this called multi-stage build, because when I go for this topic, okay, I also talk about the concept called distroless. That is also important to know. Plus I also talk about how we can create image with a smaller footprint, where it means very small size images for a lot of regions. Okay, so all those things I have given one video, complete practical hands-on video with lot many example. Also here I use example of Spring Boot app of Java with use Maven and something. So a lot many things guys in just one single video would be covered. So highly recommend for your knowledge, and before the interview you should go for this concept. I'm not taking right now because my focus area will be more around Kubernetes. Okay, so that is the one we will share with you. And yesterday I think someone was talking about the difference between CMD and the entry point. Very quickly I explained to you, but if you want, I also have one video on this topic where I explain very detailed about the difference between CMD and the entry point. So I'll share this video also guys with you. Okay, from some of my advanced Docker training, right? So let's continue with the Kubernetes. So my setup is still going on. That's okay. So now what we are going to do, the way I explained you in my last class, last class. So first of all, Kubernetes is a tool, open source tool started by Google, then become open source, and so on. So that's what you know already. Okay, and for setting up the Kubernetes, we have multiple way to install the Kubernetes. For example, it is used by almost all the top organization and almost all the projects. Okay, if you look at the Google, okay, so Google run billions of containers a week. That was I was talking about. Okay, but obviously if you're running with billions of container, running and managing this container with Docker won't be technically practically possible. Okay, so Kubernetes will help them, right? Okay, in the terms of scaling, and scaling part, guys, I told you in my last class. Okay, so that was the guys one quick thing. Now let me quickly give you a very quick brief what we learned. Then I can add more points on the top of this guy. So by chance, who was not there in my Kubernetes discussion, my last class, you should be there. But if you're not there, so this quick brief will give you a quick idea. Okay. So what we have in the world of Kubernetes, we have one master node or the manager node, and we might have multiple worker node or the compute node or the slave node. Okay, and they are the one they are the one okay, who one minute. They are the one who actually run your container. So the idea was something like this. So we have a user of the Kubernetes, maybe the IT team, or maybe the developers who use the Kubernetes, and they are the one who use kubectl command. It's a client command, and they are the one who will contact to your master node or the manager node. Every computer known as node. So they will connect via obviously via some network using some protocol. Mostly they use HTTP or HTTPS protocol behind the scene, and they contact to one of the program of the master node that running inside the computer, and this program is known as Kube API program. Okay, so as a client, they connect to this program on some port number. Mostly the port number is 6443. It could be other also. So they connect. Okay, and for connect guys to this program, and why they want to connect, because they want to send the request, whatever they want to do. For example, they want to send the request that, hey, I want to launch a container from this image. So they send the image name of the Docker or container image, and from master will take this image and launch a container. Launch a container. So where they launch? Okay, so they mostly launch in the worker node. This is the worker node A or maybe B or C. Multiple worker node you can create. Why? To scale, because when master node will go and contact to worker node. Okay, and so container is the one who is going to launch on the top of worker node. Container is just, if you know very deep into Docker, so container is nothing, is a process actually. It look like working OS, but it is a process running on the top of your base system. Because it is process, so they are sharing all the physical resources of the base system or physical hardware. Okay, and obviously my physical hardware is limited. So if you launch multiple containers, so your resources will be exhausted. Okay, so if you want to scale more, you need more hardware or more node or more worker node. So if you want to launch multiple containers, one node won't be enough. Plus, there's one more benefit. By chance, if the entire node goes down, the container also goes down, and container is the one where your app is running. So app is also goes down, right? So if this kind of issue gonna come up, it's called fail. So Kubernetes give you a capability of fail over. So as soon as they goes down, like Kubernetes keep on monitoring the node. So if one of the port goes down, same port they relaunch in some other nodes if the node is there. Okay, so these are the one of some of the few benefit, and many more other benefit you will achieve. Okay, you will achieve by having multiple worker node. In my case, if you use eksctl command, this command by default launch a 2 worker node. You can change also if you want, but by default they launch 2 worker node. But one more thing, guys, master node is a computer running a program, and to connect to this program we use this command. But obviously this command we need to authenticate. Okay, so this command, guys, mostly use a file called kubeconfig file, where we keep our login name and passwords or keys or certificate to authenticate. And this file is there in your local computer wherever you have the kubectl. So in my case, because I use eksctl command to launch this cluster. Okay, so this command automatically copy the key in your local computer. So when you run this command, when the cluster is created, so this key has been stored in your local system with a name called kubeconfig file somewhere here. So this is a very important file. Okay, this file contains the key of your cluster. Okay, and that is a reason when you run kubectl command as a client command, you can able to run this command without any hurdle. Okay, because this command, kubectl command, every time whenever you run, it will go to this file. It's stored in my local computer. Okay, and in this file, they take three things: the IP address of my Kubernetes master node, typically the IP of Kube API server program. Second, the username and the password. They pick from this file. Okay, and that is the reason this command is working without any error, the way we've seen in my last class. Okay, but if you remove this file, then obviously it won't work. This command will fail because of the authentication error. Okay, this one point. That means, okay, anyone who run this file, run this command, where this is the command who will go to Kubernetes and do something for you. Okay, one of the things they can do is I can ask my Kubernetes that I have an image. Can you please take this request and can you launch a container? So Kubernetes will go and see which node is kind of free, available, and they launch the container on that particular worker node. But who check this? Which node is free and where to launch? So again, in the Kubernetes, there's a program called Kube Scheduler. There's one program running inside the Kubernetes master node. This is the guy who is responsible to schedule, to plan where to launch the container. In the world of Kubernetes, container is technically wrapped into one box, and that is called pod. So for the Kubernetes, they always launch the pod. Okay, so you can think pod is kind of box or wrapper, and inside this, Kubernetes will launch a container. And why they create this wrapper? The container is not been managed, not been launched by Kubernetes. Okay, so in every worker node, you should need container engine. Okay, one of the thing would be Cryo or Container D or Docker or Podman or Rocket. Some container engine you need. Okay, Kubernetes is only sending the instructions to your base worker node that work like a Docker host or host of the container engine. And finally, when the Kubernetes send this instructions to your container engine, they are the one who launch the container for you. So technically, for the computer B perspective or the container engine perspective or Cryo or Docker perspective, there's multiple software available. they run this guy as a container. So if you go to this computer and run Docker PS command, you can see this container is running. Okay, but for the Kubernetes perspective, okay, they are asking them to launch the pod. So pod is nothing, some extra metadata or the information we attach to one box. Okay, so that Kubernetes can contact to worker node and tell the instruction that this is what we are looking for. So typically, pod is like, you can think it's like a box or a wrapper, and inside this we are running with one container. But if you run the pod with one container, that's called single container pod. But there's a possibility in one pod we can launch multiple containers. This is called multi-container pod. Okay, so why we need this? That's what we will see today. Mostly we will use multi-container pods. Okay, and so there's a lot of use cases. That's called design patterns of multi-container pod. We'll talk about it today about these design pattern. Why we need. But in my last class, we launch a pod. I launch a pod with single container, a pod. That's what we launch. But for launching the container, obviously you need an image. Okay, that's what my user will send. I'm sending the image, and based on this image, can you please launch a container for me? But we don't use the word container in the world of Kubernetes. We say, can you please launch the pod? That's how it works. But here we have one small challenge. The challenge here is the client perspective. We have a challenge. This a request of launching the pod. Launching the pod is given by kubectl command. Okay, and kubectl command guys is working on the client computer, and they require this config file. It means anyone who use kubectl command without config file, it won't work. And config file is very dangerous actually because it contains password, username. So it means if you want to run this command in other computer, okay, so obviously you have to install this command, but installing the command is not enough. You have to take this file from here and copy there. Okay, so we have to provide this file or this detail to my user who is going to use this program. But in some cases, most of the cases, this command is not run by ours by manual way. We run this command, kubectl command, in the automate way most of the time. Let's say with CI tool or CI/CD tool, let's say Jenkins. So wherever you install Jenkins as a product, same system we installed kubectl command, and kubectl command need this file. So same system where Jenkins is running, we have to copy this file. Okay, and maybe Jenkins is a guy's automation tool. So some of my team is using Jenkins, but I'm not comfortable enough to provide my config file because my entire containers, the pod, also known as workload, running with databases and applications with password and credentials and code, is running in the top of Kubernetes. So I am not mostly comfortable to provide my config file to the Jenkins guys. And without config file, Jenkins won't able to launch the pod by running this command in automated way. So why we need in Jenkins? Because I told you in my last class, CI/CD pipeline. Okay, maybe CI is the one who will create the custom image for you the way I explained to you, but CD is the one who will take this image and go to Kubernetes and deploy or deliver your image to the Kubernetes so that they can launch a new version the way I explained to you. I explained you about deployment strategy, rolling update. So new version, they keep on rolling update or release by connecting to Kubernetes. Who will do this thing for you? CI/CD pipeline that is mostly, let's say, run by Jenkins. Okay, or if it's not Jenkins, then Circle CI or maybe if you go to AWS Cloud, we have Code Pipeline. So there are many tools, but whichever tool you use does not matter. The logic will be same. Okay, so we are not comfortable to give this file, and without this file, the command won't work. The point is, now if you want to launch anything in the Kubernetes, this command we use, okay, and this file we need. But what we can do that without this command, without this file, how can we launch something in the Kubernetes? Okay, there's a point. So to solve this problem, this is one of the problems we have. Okay, to solve this problem, we have a solution called Argo CD. Argo CD. Now we don't use kubectl command actually. We don't use this command. If the command, if you're not using, so we are not using config file also. We don't need config file, even though you can remove the file also. Okay, so without having these commands and this file, Argo CD is very kind of interesting tool. I'll explain you in a minute how it works. They can deploy whatever you want to deploy in the world of Kubernetes. So anything, whatever you know in the Kubernetes, these are some of the things we can do in the Kubernetes, and many more things. Everything you can do with Argo CD. Okay, so how to use, we'll see. So there's a one point to note. Okay, and now some more terms I want to explain to you. So whenever, because this system is C computer and they are running with a container engine, maybe Docker, for example. Okay. So whenever Kubernetes is trying to go to this computer, this computer, okay. So we need some program here so that Kubernetes can connect and send the instruction. So this is a kind of agent program by the Kubernetes, and this program is known as kubelet. So Kubernetes master node, mostly the scheduler program, are the one who contact to slave node to a program called kubelet running in this worker node. Okay, and they are the one who take the instructions from the master node, contact to container engine, and they are the one who launch the container. But for the Kubernetes perspective, they launch the pod for you. So Kubernetes is also one of the program running in all the worker node. And master node guys also work as a worker node for you, depend upon the settings. So we can also launch the pod in the master node. That could be also possible. Okay, so just I want to give you some brief, some of the part I explain you in my last class, plus a lot of new component and keyword I have given to you. And there will be many more program running in the Kubernetes master. For example, whatever you do, you launch a pod, the way I explained, you launch a SVC load balancer, you launch a deployment, whatever you launch in the Kubernetes, you can use the get command to get this information. But this get command is retrieving the information from one database managed by the Kubernetes. So in the master node, they are running with one database known as etcd. It's a database name running in the Kubernetes. Okay, and whatever you create, update, delete, means entire CURD operation is happening because of this database. It means something has been changed, something has been created. So as soon as they create, they update into database. So your current state of your this setup, where the setup is we have master node and multi-worker node, even though we have multiple master node also to maintain the high availability of the master, that is also possible. So this entire worker or the master node work together as a cluster, as a team. This called Kubernetes or Kubernetes container cluster. Okay, the entire state, what is happening at this point in time is there in etcd database. It's a database, is key value pair database. So they store key with the value, key value pair database. It is NoSQL database, I can say. Okay, so this also some of the component. So right now, if you want to see how many nodes we have, so you can see 2 worker node. If you installed Kubernetes with kubeadm command, there's a multiple way to install the Kubernetes. Kubernetes, okay. Multiple way to install Kubernetes. You can use Minikube running locally the Kubernetes cluster. We can create multi-node cluster somewhere in your on-premises system. Okay, we can use Minikube or kubeadm. So there's multiple way to install the Kubernetes cluster. But I don't want to invest this time here because it takes a lot of other discussion to be implement. So I just launched Kubernetes cluster with EKS service in AWS cloud. Because our motto is to use the Kubernetes. That is the motto. Okay, but if you set up your own Kubernetes, then you have to set up your own master node also. But if you use EKS service of AWS cloud, then they are using master node behind the scene. Okay, so they does not show the master node. This concept is called serverless or fully managed in the cloud. So they're running and managing behind the scene. It is not visible to you because we does not know do the things there. They only show you the worker nodes. So these are 2 worker nodes. These are real computers, and these are computer where we are going to run our pod or the container. Okay, that's what they provide to you. This is enough for us. So let's do the next part. Maybe some more component we will discuss as we go ahead in this architecture of Kubernetes. Okay. Now, I want to tell you one more important point. Whenever as a user or the client wanted to contact a Kubernetes cluster or the server or services, whatever you say right now, I mean to have same thing. Whenever they want to connect this one, we use a client command, mostly it's called kubectl. But this command, guys, we can use in two different way mostly. One, we can use ad hoc command, this is called CLI, the way we use in my last class. Very quickly, if I show to you, I can say kubectl, I want to create a deployment. This is what I show you in my last class. And my let's say is my deployment name, and I want to deploy a pod from the image. And in the last class, I have created a image that I uploaded in my Docker Hub. Docker Hub. So that image you can use, or you can use one more image, guys, that is created by me here. That's called Vimal 13 if you search. Okay, image name is called Apache Web Server. This also image I created. This image is nothing, but this has a one interesting benefit. In this image, I create a PHP code, and whenever you run this image, they will print the IP address of your container. So when I show you the load balancing part, okay, so you by hitting the site launched by this container or this image as a container pod, you can see which container you are in at this point in time. So you can see your load balancing happening perfectly fine. So I would like to use this image now. Okay, so I hit enter. This was the command I was talking about in my last class, and because I'm going to run a lot of command today, guys, so let me create one quick note. So I'll keep on sharing this note to you, so you guys can also practice. So this is a command who will launch a deployment. Okay, and deployment is the one who launch a replica set behind the scene. And replica set is the one who launch ports for you. And replica set is also one who will manage the replica of the port. Replica means the way I told you, scale. You can add more and less port as and you want. But technically, we don't launch the port directly. There's a way we can launch. We don't launch the replica set directly. We have a way to launch. We mostly launch everything via deployment. So container is wrapped by a pod. A replica set is a wrapper of the pod. Or deployment is a wrapper or the abstraction of the replica set. You can think in this way, but we don't launch this guy directly. There's a way, and there's some use cases also, but mostly we use deployment. Keyword, and these are known as resources or the keyword. We use the word resources. So they are resources of the Kubernetes. Okay, and every resources has something to do. Okay, so something to do. For example, deployment is one resources. It is meant especially for the strategy, the way I explained in my last class. Rolling update I show you in my last class. So they are mostly meant for creating the rollout strategies or rollback strategies. Okay, replica set, and the older version of replica set was replication controller, is meant to maintain the replicas of the container. For example, when I run this command, scale and say deployment, whichever replica you launch in your MyD, ask them to create more replicas of the port to balance the load and to accommodate more clients to this app. So deployment will send this information to a replica set and say my new desired is 5. Okay, so can you launch a 5 container for me? So they, because you say 5, so they are launching 5. 2 is now ready, and if you rerun, you can see now 5 container is ready. You can see 5 pod or container is ready for you. Okay, it's ready for you. So that is command we have seen in my last class already. So this guy is responsible for maintaining this replica. And pod is a resource type that is maintaining the container and other things also. Okay, so these are the internal resource types of Kubernetes, or I can say the native keyword or native resource type of the Kubernetes. Okay, but there's some resource type that is not provided by the Kubernetes natively. Okay, but if you want to add more capabilities in the Kubernetes, so we can add some extensions. Extensions. Okay, and those extensions add more resources to the Kubernetes. And this concept is called CRDs, custom resource definitions. Okay, for example, right now, if I talk about, do we have any resource type known as gateway? No, nothing is available. Do you have any resource type known as virtual services? Okay, so this resource type is available actually in the world of Kubernetes, but it is not there natively. But there's a way. There's a way to install these resource types. Now, what they do, that's not important right now. We'll discuss. Okay, but we can install more resource type that's called CRDs. And how we can install? So Kubernetes has a lot of softwares that is called operators. So there's a concept called operators in the world of Kubernetes. Same thing is there in the OpenShift also. So with the help of operator, you can think it is more like a software in the world of Kubernetes, or plugin in the world of Kubernetes. And by the operator, we'll install somehow, and that operator will give more CRDs, means more capabilities to the Kubernetes. So you can think Kubernetes like a mobile phone, okay, platform. And on the platform, we have multiple apps. Every app is doing something for you. So deployment app, RS app, pod app, VS app, gateway app, and so on. Okay, so and getting more app, we have to install app that is called operator here. And those operator we mostly install using a tool called Helm. Okay, this is one of the way. Other way also available, but this is the one of the tool we use to install the operator. So we'll see, guys, today how we can install the operator and get more CID based on the use case. Okay, but whatever you do in the world of Kubernetes, we have a two way to do something in the Kubernetes. One is CLI. That's what I use. It's called ad hoc commands. Okay, but other way to do something in the world of Kubernetes is called code. Okay, for example, in Docker, we have Docker file. Similarly, in the Kubernetes, we have a code written in a YAML language. Okay, and whatever you want to implement in the Kubernetes, this is what we use, and this is mostly we use. We rarely use the command. Okay, we always use the code in certain way and certain key value pair written in a YAML language. So I'll very quickly go for this code because this code is very important to know right now, because without this code, Argo CD does not work. So when I go for Argo CD, you need the code. And mostly we use the code. Okay, command line has a limitation. You can't do everything from the command line. For example, if you go to kubectl command and if you go for create option here, And if you see the help of the create options, so in the Kubernetes, we can do many things. But in the create command, they only giving you these options. For example, we can create a deployment the way we have seen. Okay, we can create a service the way we have seen in my last class. But we have no way to create persistent volume. Yeah. Okay, we have no way to create the PVC here. Or there will be many more things in the world of Kubernetes. Not every command options is available. Even though if you go for deployment, there will be many things we can do in the world of deployment. Okay, because deployment is one who want to launch a pod, and in a pod there will be many things, guys. A big world altogether. Okay. For example, we can, if you want to set some governance in the pod or some security rules on the pod, this is called pod policy, pod security policy, PSP, and many other things also. Not everything is available in the command line, but if you try to do something with the code, you have every keyword available. Okay, so we don't want to use the command, we always want to use the code. Okay, and code, guys, literally we have to create step by step. So normally in my training, when I deliver the Kubernetes training, I go step by step of creating the code. Time today, so I'll show you a very quick way to create the code. That's what we are going to use. The quick way is nothing. This is the command we have. Command we have. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'll go and create one folder in my document. I think the folder I created already free. Yeah, so I'm using this folder here. Okay, and in this folder, let me get one more subfolder called cube. Cube folder. Okay, and if you want to create a code that's called a YAML file, or sometimes also known as manifest file, then if you know the command, take this command and ask this command not to run at this point in time. Before I this command, let me do one thing. Okay, let me delete everything. Kubernetes delete all. So guys, it's a very dangerous command. Don't run in your real computers. It will delete everything, all the resources what you created till now. Okay, so in my case, I created this part. It has been cleaned. Nothing is there. So if you get poured, everything is sorry. It's been deleted. So nothing is there. Okay. Now, if you want to launch, you can run this command, but I don't want to use this command. Okay. So you can say command, do one thing, run and a dry run. Means don't run, try to pretend you're running. Okay. And when you run, convert this command into YAML format. That's all. So command will convert into code. Say this is the code they created. And let me store this code in one file. Okay, so we can use this pipe, this symbol, and let's say the d dot YAML file I'm storing. So this is a quick way to create the quick starting code. Okay, and now if I open this code, this is how the code look like. Where we always write the deployment means my keyword, replica set, code, whatever the keyword would be. We have a metadata of the deployment, means mostly the name of the deployment, and we'll talk about the specification of this keyword. And deployment, we are sending, I want one replica, or you can change more also here directly. Here you can tell the strategy. I told you they support two strategy, recreate or rolling update. By default is rolling update. If you don't write, they are rolling update by default. Then they have some specification, that is the pod. So we are going to launch a pod, and pod we are going to launch a container from this image. Okay, or any further settings related to container, you can write here. So there are lot of keyword, guys. uh, Situation to situation we can write. So we can write something about security. I want privileges power to the container. This could privilege escalation. I want some port security. I want to launch this pod. Right now, guys, they launch your pod randomly in any of the node based upon scheduler what decision they take. But if you want to specify, no, I want my pod to be launched in C computer only. Why? There could be many reasons. Maybe this computer is running in Singapore in the cloud. Okay, this computer running in the European region. So you might have multi node cluster, and this cluster running in multi region. So we have a way we can set up this in the cloud. Okay, so we have some workload that should be run in European region because this government of the European region has some compliance. And according to the clients, they say whatever data you're storing here or database you're storing here, you can't store in anything outside the European countries. So this could be one of the reason. I want while launching the pod, I would like to do a node selection. So here we can write some kind of keyword. While launching the pod, we would like to use some node selection. So your pod will always launch in that node. This could be one of the reason. Other reason could be maybe this node is running with Windows. So any pod that you run that might need base system as a Windows, uh, base system as a Windows. One minute. Okay, then I want to launch the pod in the system where base system that might need the setup. The pod is container is like a process. Okay, and every process some kind of support that they need from base computer. So accordingly we can plan, and will be many more, guys, use cases we can do. We can do so. Okay, so this is one of the keyword. Okay, otherwise we have port security. Otherwise we have some kind of resource limit. Okay, right now we launch a container, let's go pod, and they can take as much as memory and CPUs from the base computer. Okay, sometimes not good because multiple pod run in one worker node. One pod will take more memory, other pod will slow down. Okay, so we can restrict this guy. Okay, and say, hey, you are allowed to use maximum 1 CPU or 10% of the CPU or 2 GB RAM and so on. Okay, so this concept called C group concept and constraint limit quotas. So these are many things we can do over here. So there's a lot of keyword we can write here. Right now I'm not doing so, but I just wanted to show you these are the these are some of the example that we can implement here. But that is a code. Now how to run the code? Let me change something here. Let me create replica here. So I can change this code and let me run this code. Right now, if you see in my current Kubernetes cluster, I have no pod running. Obviously, there's no deployment. But to run this code, we have kubectl, apply or create command. You can use any right now and give the file name d2ramen. That's all. Okay. So this file has been launched, and now you can see your deployment was not there. It has been created, and now pod also has been created. But what is the use of this file? Okay, one of the very interesting use of this file is one minute. One of the very important use of this file is okay, if we have this file, let me understand this concept. Well, let me first open this file. So if you have this file, Okay, what we can do. So let me explain this concept, very interesting concept. Okay, the way I explained in my last class. Okay, we have an idea. Developer is the one who create the code. This is called app, and let's say they come with the new version of app called V1. They update this app in the GitHub or some other SCM tool. Okay, or my Jenkins is the one who keep on checking the GitHub. As soon as they see the new code, Jenkins will download this code, put in some build computer, okay, managed by the Jenkins. Okay, they will pull this code after they will push. Okay, and what Jenkins will do, they will build, depend upon what you set in the Jenkins job, they will build the custom images. Let's say Docker custom image they build the way I show you with Docker file. Okay, and after the build, they push this image to the hub and say, I have an image, and what a Jenkins give the version, they can write V1. Okay, so who will decide the version name of the image? It is mostly done by Jenkins. So we have some way in the Jenkins that will give you a way to 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 give the version name before we upload. So we upload or push this image to the hub by image name and the version name. Image name is one thing that is always fixed, but version name is keep on changing. Okay, version name, image name is fixed, but version name is keep on changing here. V1, V2, something so on, the way I showed in my last class. Okay, but the challenge here is because do you really want to keep the version? Yes. If the new app gonna come up, we will add one more version. Let's say developer V2. This is the version of the code maintained by GitHub. It's a different version. But after Jenkins download the build, they give this image a new version. Now, one next time they post, they say the image name is same, but my version is V2. So this version V1 and V2, it is managed by Git with the concept called commit ID. This has no relation with this version of the images. This version normally given by the Jenkins somehow. By running some script or Jenkins some environmental variable, we can attach. Okay, this could build numbers. So the point is, Jenkins is the only one in this case who know what is my current version and what all the versions is there. What is my latest version of the image? Okay, and if Jenkins is the only one who know the latest version of the image, okay, and this image I am going to use in my code or maybe in my command. Okay, and if this command, let's say I have version 1 and that new version I don't know is 11 or 10 or 2 or 21, 23, I don't. If it does not know the version, it is impossible to launch the deployment. It is impossible to do the rolling update the way I showed in my last class. Then you have to give the version. Okay, so because Jenkins is the only one who know the version, so what normally we do, okay, we provide a Jenkins after they push the image by doing all the check and security check. We ask Jenkins to do one more job, one after another. It's like a pipeline, or pipeline as a code in Jenkins world. We ask the Jenkins, I have given you a code, this code. So this code will give to Jenkins, okay, and ask them that this is the code we have given initially, let's say first version, and ask them whenever you change the version, whatever version you attach due to XYZ way. Okay, so do one thing, you will go take this YAML code of my Kubernetes file, do some trick and change this version from V1 to whatever the new version you add to the image, because you know, so you go and change the version. And this trick is nothing, is a kind of script we can write. So if you know the shell scripting, we have SCD command in shell scripting. It's going to be one of the way to do so, one of the way to do so. So Jenkins is the one, okay, who, this file you have to give to Jenkins initially, but Jenkins is the one who keep on changing this file. And after this file, now Jenkins can also take a lead because the new file has been updated. Has been updated. So even though, let me show you this quick demo manually right now. So in my last class, guys, I have created this image. This is the image we have created in my last class. So let me take the same image. Let's say initially we have version 1, the way I showed you in my last class, v1, v2, v3. Okay. So let's say if this is the image we have at this point in time with v1 as a version. Okay. Before this, let me clean my entire setup. Entire setup. And let's say this file is given to Jenkins, and Jenkins have internally kubectl command and kubeconfig file. So Jenkins have everything. So Jenkins will go and run this command. It's called Jenkins job. They run this command, and technically you can see 3 port from this image has been launched. Kubectl get port has been launched, and if you describe any of the port, just give the port number, any port name. Okay, you can see the port is running with the container, and container is running with this image. This called v1 image. Okay, now my developer has posted new code in the GitHub, my Jenkins download and build a new image, and that is to v2 as a version, and the push to Docker Hub, and new version is v2. But still this file is using v1 version. So this is the role of the Jenkins. You can do it manually, but I don't want anything to be manual. That the way I told you, I want everything to be automated. So Jenkins is the one who will go and change this version by scripts automatically after they push successful the image. Okay, and then Jenkins is the one who will run this command one more time. Okay, apply, and what you will see, you will see this is the way that I showed in my last, rolling update. So the rolling update, right, automatically happening. Okay, even though we can do the kubectl roll out history of the deployment called my d. This is what the command I showed you in my last class. So it is happening. Yeah, second time they done. So remaining part done by the deployment keyword. So one by one they delete the old terminal version and launch a new container automatically. Okay, even though you can check also. So if you describe all the port, you can see now all the port has been launched with v2 as a version. Fantastic, right? v2 as a version because of my rolling updates running in that deployment. Okay, but the point is Jenkins is the one who changed this version because they are the one who know the version. Okay, and Jenkins is the one who will run this code. This code. Okay, so that is one of the primary reason why we need a code. So anything you want to change on the fly, you can change. Second thing is this file have many more keyword that is not supported by the command line. The way I told you, this is also one of the reasons why we need the file. Okay, but the primary reason why we need a code, why we need a file, why we need this file, okay, is nowadays we don't use Jenkins actually. Because if you use Jenkins to run this file, we have to give config file of Kubernetes that contain password of the Kubernetes cluster. It is not so much perfect to give the password to the Jenkins guys, because I'm running my company workload. We are not comfortable to give my config file because of a lot of constraint and the compliances. So what we can do, okay, the point is how we can run this file. How we can run this file, okay, without giving the config file. Which file? This is what I was talking about, kube config file. Kube config file. Okay, so for this, for the deployment purpose, okay, when somebody saying we can use secret, no, Pratha, a secret is not for this purpose. Even though secret is also not storing the password, they are storing encode version. We can decode. Is something else we'll discuss today. Okay, so here the goal is, okay, so the simple goal is I want to run this file. That is the requirement. Second requirement, I want to run this file automatically. Third requirement is I want this file to be run without the config file that contain my password of the Kubernetes cluster. We have to use a very different mechanism. Mechanism would be something like this. For example, if you are running with a Kubernetes cluster, and if you are the user is the one who has a kube config file that contains the password. Till date, what we're doing, we are pushing the config file. Pushing means we are the one who initiate the connection and log in first. So till date, we are using the push mechanism, and we're pushing the YAML file. Which YAML file? This is the YAML file I'm talking about to the Kubernetes. How? With kubectl command. This command we're pushing, and this command is working because we have a local config file available. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay, but if it does not want to use you want to run this file, that's the plan, but you does not want to use local config file, then we can use a different approach. Instead of push, we can go for pull mechanism. Okay, means we have this Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and let's say we have one file, deployment.yml file sitting somewhere. Okay, instead someone from this side run kubectl command, because this command always need kube config file. I don't want to provide neither manually, neither to Jenkins guys. Okay, but instead I want to run this file. So what we can do, we can ask Kubernetes, we can run some program inside the Kubernetes, not outside, inside the Kubernetes, and we say, Kubernetes, this program that is the part of your own system, they will go to this file and go and download this file that's called pull into your own local Intel cluster, and this program is the one who will go and apply this file. And because this program who is responsible for this purpose, okay, because they're sitting inside the Kubernetes. If you're someone sitting inside the Kubernetes, so you don't have to provide them the config file because they are inside. Okay, so the problem of not giving the config file would be solved. And this program is nothing. This program is actually going somewhere and getting this file and deploying for you. So the continuous delivery or the deployment part could be done by this program automatically. And this program is nothing, is one of the tool for this program is called Argo CD. And many more tool available like Flux CD and many more tool available. Argo CD is a kind of famous one. But for the Argo CD, the minimum requirement is, okay, they work with the code, not with the command. They work with the code, and they always take the code from the SCM tool, mostly the GitHub. GitHub. Okay, so Argo CD will go to GitHub, and they get the code from the GitHub. From the GitHub. That's how it works. But we have other way of think, way of to see this concept one more time, a different approach. It's very important concept I would like to tell you. Okay, that means the way I explained to you, I want to explain one more time. That means this code we have to first load into GitHub. Now, who will upload this code? It is not important, but mostly because Jenkins is the one who create the image. Jenkins is the one who know the new version of the of my image. So this is the responsibility we give to Jenkins. Go and update this file. Which file? This file of Kubernetes with the new version. And you are the one who will upload the code to GitHub. So this is the entire responsibility we give to Jenkins. Okay, how we do, guys? Again, I told you my focus area for this training would be around Kubernetes. Jenkins is a big tool, so I can't show this demo. But yeah, anyone who is a part of my some DevOps training only or the Jenkins training, so we have these kind of a lot of big demos, because to do so we have to create a Jenkins pipeline as a code. It is again big topic to be discussed, but I think this theoretical or conceptual discussion is enough to see the visually or logically this is how we do. Okay, uh, so this is what we can do here. So there's one point. So the one who will upload the code in the GitHub automatically, everything is completely automatically to the GitHub by Jenkins. Okay, GitHub. Now in my Kubernetes cluster, they are sitting with the Argo CD as a tool. Okay, Argo CD has a capability, guys. What we can do in the Argo CD, there's a one tick we can do. And tick means we can ask Argo CD to keep on going to GitHub, and whenever they see any new change gonna come up, whenever they see any new code gonna come up, Argo CD will automatically download this code called polling. This called sync. They will sync this code, download the latest copy, and apply here automatically. That's what we can do in Argo CD. Okay, it means as soon as, if you again go for this diagram, as soon as my developer upload to the code to the GitHub, okay, then complete end-to-end pipeline to be created. Okay, how? As soon as my developer upload a new code, let's say version 3 of the code, they push to the GitHub. Jenkins will download this code automatically, build this code automatically, push this code automatically, version 3. Okay, then Jenkins will have one more job as a downstream job we can add, pipeline as a code pipeline we can create. They will update this file with v3, v4 and push to the GitHub. Everything is complete automated. Now remaining part we will want to do with the Jenkins, this part. Okay, and as soon as something new gonna come in the GitHub, Argo CD will keep on syncing with some few second or minute. Okay, and they will download the latest copy and apply to the Kubernetes. And you guys know the beautiful thing of the Kubernetes is, in the Kubernetes, because this file is a deployment file. Okay, any new change gonna come, let's say v1, v3, v4 version gonna come up. Okay, my Kubernetes will always use the internal deployment strategy. Okay, that is done by the Kubernetes guys automatically. Okay, and then You replace this version from, let's say, V3 to V4 with a proper strategy. So nothing will be downtime the way I show you the demo in my last class. So we say, guys, see here, in this entire explanation, what I was talking about here, there is no manual step. Everything is completely end-to-end automated. Plus, okay, but Kubernetes, like say, is a kind of cluster running in my production environment. So I'm not leaking or sharing my keys also in for the delivery part. Neither Jenkins guys, neither the IT team has a key or the config file. So it's a kind of secure. Okay. And one more concept I want to add here. Okay. For the Argo CD perspective, they are taking the instruction from the GitHub. Now it is your point, you to think this file that is going to upload in the GitHub is been updated by Jenkins guys, or maybe you might also update. Okay, interesting thing is whatever you update in the GitHub, okay, that will be deployed in the Kubernetes automatically. So just think in this way, it means, okay, GitHub is the one who is the kind of final area, okay, where we as a team or IT team or DevOps engineer is giving them the instructions what to do. So it's very interesting if you think, guys, means GitHub is the one we are giving the instruction. Now we are not giving the instruction to Argo CD, neither Kubernetes. Okay, we are just giving the instruction to the GitHub. This is what I want. And whatever instruction you give to GitHub, how? Just by changing the code, that's all. That will be implemented in the Kubernetes. Means GitHub is known as the source of truth. Whatever source code we write here, that will be the truth. That will be the one who finally implement in Kubernetes. It means you guys might know GitHub is a SCM tool. There's a code we write there. And GitHub also maintain rolling update, rolling code, right? Maybe we write V5 here in the GitHub. And after we write V5, we see my application not working fine. I can go to GitHub and change to V4. How? We have a git command, right? Git command. And the git command, we have all the options of revert or rollback. All the concept of git we can apply here. It means now git command is helping you in rolling back. Okay, in rolling back, git command is the one who is helping you because when you push the code, okay, git push is a very generic command where we upload the code, but here now git push is pushing the new code, and this new code is the instruction to Argo CD that new things you have to launch. They launch for you. It's so beautiful. Means git general command, git push, git revert, git rollout. There's a proper git command there, but now this command is helping me to do the operations actually, my continuous delivery operations. Okay, so that is a concept guys known as GitOps. So GitOps is a concept nowadays we use a lot. Means Git is the one who is helping you in the operations part. Now we don't need Jenkins. We don't need manual kubectl command. We don't need what I say, any other automation tool as such. With respect to Kubernetes, I'm talking about. And Kubernetes is one kind of standard tool we use almost everywhere. When I say Kubernetes, it means any Kubernetes or OpenShift. Okay, just Git is enough for entire deployment management, entire operations we can do. That is a very, very beautiful concept as such. That means that means Git would be a one area for everything. Even though if you talk about the Jenkins also, we have to set up Jenkins once, right? Jenkins once. But as soon as my developer upload the new code in Jenkins, my app code, my Jenkins will automatically build the image. It means my Git is the only source where we are controlling everything, building the image, scanning, deploying in the Kubernetes. Everything is being controlled by Git or GitHub. That's so beautiful concept. It means you can do all the things. We can get branches. We do something on branches, test on one branch, and this branch is running something in a different Kubernetes cluster. It's called Kubernetes testing cluster. We have multiple Kubernetes cluster also. This is called multi Kubernetes setup. We can do, and that can also have a capability of Argo CD. Argo CD can maintain multiple Kubernetes cluster. So we have one branch in GitHub. That branch is synced with one of the Kubernetes cluster that's for testing purpose. And after testing done, then we merge that branch to main branch of the GitHub of the GitHub. And as soon as they have merged the main branch, that branch is synced by different cluster of the Kubernetes. Okay, and they will always sync with the latest code. So understand, see, whatever you normal, I think you guys know Git and GitHub. So maybe you can able to relate. By chance, if you does not know Git and GitHub, so you guys can learn. The lot of tutorial available. But if you want to go learn Git and GitHub in very detail from basic to advanced, so I have one course recently updated in either you can find #13 this course, or you can go to Udemy. Wherever they come with a better offer. Right now, this is not a good offer, so it's very highly priced. But when you see a good offer come up, okay, so you can go and buy this course and can highly rate it from my side. I cover almost everything about GitHub in very detail with all lot of practicals. Yeah, recently, I think this month only, I upload this course. It cover everything, what a possible thing in GitHub. But basic thing I think you might know, okay, branches and merge and revert and roll back and push. Okay, just general concept of GitHub is helping you to do a complete CI/CD. That is what I am talking about. So as soon as you push your code, your app code by the developer, your CI part will automatically kick in by Jenkins. Okay, and as soon as you upload your Kubernetes code in GitHub, automatically Argo CD will kick in. The CD part. Okay, so this is how it works. So let me show you this demo to you so that you understand the concept. And after this demo and the demonstration, okay, you will understand the power of Argo CD. But again, Argo CD is one tool running inside the Kubernetes. Inside the Kubernetes. So, what I'm trying to say here. So when you install Argo CD, it will give you a new CRDs to the Kubernetes. Right now, if you go for Kubernetes and say, Kubernetes, do you have any CRD called application here? CRD means resource? No. Okay. Because for the Argo CD perspective, whatever you launch, it is application. It is application. There's no Argo CD installed, so there's no application running at this point of time. Okay, this is one point. So let me show you how to install the Argo CD. Okay, one more thing I want to add, because a lot of guys is asking me continuously. Right now, guys, I am only touching. I am touching all the as much as possible. Okay, but in a way that if you guys are new in this concept, still you can able to understand. So if you notice, guys, I touch everything from the starting and slowly I move to some of the advanced part. Okay, only thing my purpose is to you understand conceptually Second thing is, when you have interviews going on, you should know this concept. Okay, so if you talk about this pipeline or this architecture while interview, that makes a lot of sense, that you have good knowledge in this world. Maybe you does not know everything, but you have enough time after the job. You can learn by somehow. Argo CD is still a big tool. Kubernetes still is a big tool. Jenkins still is still a big tool. DevSecOps again contain a lot of things to be covered. But these component, because obviously in the interview no one asks you to launch the cluster mostly and do this setup. Okay, so having these knowledge, having these vocabularies is makes sense while performing on the interviews. Plus, still I'm showing you some demos so that at least whatever you will talk in the interview, in the interview, that makes sense, because you have a kind of practical exposure also. And now what I'll do in some minute, these component what we learned yesterday and today, and many more things we're going to learn today, we will create a project also. So that project will be kind of complete practical, that I also ask you to perform. You also have a good knowledge of creating the projects also, kind of real project, so that you will be very much more comfortable in the terms of knowledge and the practical exposure. Is one point. Plus anyone, okay, anyone who is right now we are doing online here, but Lannisper have just launched, guys, one very different level of initiative. uh, uh, so we have created one very unique program that is we are doing. It is a kind of India tour from my side. So we are doing offline in multiple cities. Anyone who want to join, you guys can join. The multiple cities we I'm touching offline. So what we have done, all the main component of the Kubernetes, we have created one program where we're touching all the main component, Docker or Kubernetes or Argo CD or Jenkins or DevSecOps and many other tools, step by step, and create a 3-day program. So I think you might know this. Anyone who interested, you guys join. So we are doing in multiple cities, is going to a very different level actually. So this called TGS India is one of our initiative. Okay, this is what we are doing. Multiple cities we are covering. There's a few cities we are covering at this point in time. So we keep on covering multiple editions. This edition right now is for Kubernetes. And then after this complete tour, then we come up with a different edition, maybe of cloud, maybe purely on security, purely on OpenShift. So they keep on adding in new editions. On the top of this, right now, this edition is about only for the Kubernetes edition. It's a 3 days program under the TGS. This is our initiative, the growth string. And day 1, day 2, day 3. So we are covering everything step by step, practical. The good thing about this is a kind of offline training. But good thing about this program is, okay, for example, we have given from 9 a.m. one just this much minute purely Docker. We start from basic to all advanced with all the minimum things or core things what we need in Docker to know. Then this is one delivered by me offline. Then we will have one guest lecture, okay, in that city. And this guest lecture would be some Docker captain or some head of some community or some lead who purely work purely on Docker. Then I will jump to Kubernetes. I will explain all the concept of Kubernetes with a lot of practicals. Okay, then we'll call some of the heads purely from the Kubernetes background. Then we go for service mesh, and then we have again guest lecture. So the day 1 is a big complete hands-on practical, right? Same thing we do with day 2. Day 2, okay, with GitOps, Argo CD, then Prometheus, Grafana. So we have DevSecOps tool, right? And between there, a lot of Jenkins practical also gonna come up. And day 3 we will add more things, and we will create some caption projects, real world. But the interesting thing is what we have done is a kind of combination of offline training, step by step, plus we keep on trying to give the flavor of event also, where you have a great connection directly with those individual lead or individual folks from the corporate, okay, or from the communities, okay. And plus in the last day, because here we have a participant from multiple different corporates that is also already, I think, been registered with us, okay. So finally we also calling a lot of L&Ds or talent acquisitions, or the HR teams in the last day, okay. And we connect these one, those who looking to quick switch or quick job, so they we will try to give that direct connection offline there only. So anyone who interested, who can have a quick join. Plus here also we will work in a team. So all the participant who is a participant, they are from, let's say, from Red Hat, some from IBM, and some from Infosys, Accenture, Capgemini. So we build a team, they work together in a project, so that so that doing project building. So we have participant team from different area and different sectors, so they will share their knowledge from their area. So it's a good way to collab and learn from each other also. So a lot of activity we are also doing in this program. Okay, so it is happening in multiple cities. So Bengaluru, Hyderabad, these are the dates has been announced. Okay, so whichever guys city you belong to, you guys can be the part of this program. Okay, there's no prerequisite. We are not doing offline, guys, because the whole purpose is to learn offline by collab, by meet multiple peoples, work with them. That we can't do online. Online we can only learn. That's what we're doing right now. Maybe other programmers who we have that you can join. But here the motto is very different. It's more about connections, work, collab, work with each other, having a culture of offline. That is always the great. And I will be there 3 days, continue with you guys, and we learn everything. Anyone interested, this is a site you guys can go, because I think someone also was asking me for on offline program, so this could be one way. So location of Gurgaon is not yet finalized, okay, because the first one right now is then Pune, is then the Pune 31st January. So, but I think Preeti could be the right one who can tell this, right? So I highly recommend this would be next level of approach we are using here in this offline program. Okay, so let me guys implement the Argo series, how we can do so. Okay, so yeah, so let me explain this setup to you. To implement the Argo CD, okay, so what we have to do, first of all, you think this YML file is created by whom? Okay, in most of scenario, this file is created by us. We give to Jenkins. Jenkins is the one who will upload in the GitHub. This is what the approach we mostly use. Okay, but in my case right now, let's say this file is created by me, and I am the one who going to upload into GitHub. Okay, that's what I'm going to do right now. But before this, let me first set up the Argo CD. So how to set up the Argo CD? Let me explain to you. So if you search for Argo CD installation, this is the official document of Argo CD you will find. Okay, Argo CD is a tool, guys. It is work only for Kubernetes. It's a Kubernetes delivery tool, content delivery CD part. That's what the okay. The trainer would be same as me. I am the one who going to deliver everything. So I am this is what I think we have also put here. So I am the tool. So this entire training, complete training is delivered on me. Day 1, day 2, day 3, complete days 3. I will be there offline. In between, we have some 20 minutes of sessions. Okay, for individual one as extra note. Okay, for respective maybe Docker captain or some Kubernetes head or something like this. So you have many other connections also together, but the entire training and content is completely delivered by me. Any overseas student can attend offline. No, Hina, we are highly promoting actually the offline culture, because I feel there's something you can't do online. Okay, especially the connection, collab, and environment, I can say. That's what we are promoting here. So, okay, let me set up the Argo CD. So getting started, and they will give you a way to install. First of all, you have to set up the namespace. So what namespace? Nothing in the world of Kubernetes, guys. Okay, if you run the command called kubectl get namespace. So there's a lot of namespace pre-created in the Kubernetes. Those who does not know namespace, you can think Kubernetes is more like a hotel, big hotel. Okay, and in hotel we have multiple rooms, right? So every room you can think is like a namespace, and whatever you whoever check in the hotel as a guest, we will put their luggage, the guest, into one room. Okay, without room, I don't think so. In the hotel we stay, right? We have allocated different rooms. Okay, so that's what you can think. Kubernetes is like a hotel. These are the rooms, and whatever you do, in this case, pod deployment services, we put in the room. It means any resources what you launch in the Kubernetes will be there in one of the room. And why we have multiple room? Why we need a multiple room in hotel? Same logic. We want security. We want isolation. That's what we need here. So we have one room for dev team, we have one room for person team, we have one room for my database app, we have one room for some other requirement. So every room we can secure, safeguard, that one guys won't able to enter the other rooms. Okay, and how we can safeguard? So there's a way called a rollback, RBAC, or role-based access control. So there's one concept called RBAC we can implement. IAM concept, same concept, identity and access management. So we have multiple user in the Kubernetes. So Vimal is the one who authenticate. So we'll give Vimal a power. Vimal, you can only enter this room. You're not allowed to enter this room. Okay. So IAM access and identity and access management we can set up with the concept called RBAC. We can implement. Okay. But right now I'm logged in with kind of admin user, so I can go to any of the room at this point in time. For example, if you go and the pod command, so you guys might notice by default this command is showing you what is in the default room. Okay, default room. So by default, this command is accessing the content from the default room. How I know? I can write the namespace name default. You can see the same output gonna come up, and means namespace. But you want to see what is there in this room, kube system. So the internal room or the namespace of the Kubernetes. Okay, cube system. So here there's something running. Something's running. Okay, so these are some internal pod of the Kubernetes used by slave in the master node for some kind of support, extra support. Okay, that we need in the Kubernetes cluster. For example, there's if you have a requirement, if this is one of the pod running in node B, and this is one of the pod running in node A, but I want these two pod can able to communicate to each other, but they're running to two different computers, right? If you know a little bit about Docker, If you talk about the Docker, because there are finally containers, so two containers running two different machines weren't able to communicate to each other. That's what the logic is. Okay, but if you want two different containers from two different nodes can communicate to each other, then we have to use some concept called tunneling. This is called network tunneling, known as overlay network. We have to set up. Then only two container from two different computer can able to connect. And why we need this? Because maybe there are two microservices, and both the microservices want to connect to each other. Or maybe this is backend or the database I want to connect over the network. So we need overlay concept, and for overlay we have a lot of different kind of softwares available in the market in the world of Kubernetes. So some of the overlay software you might know: Flannel, we have ViewNet, we have Calico, we have. So if we search for Kubernetes overlay network, okay, list, you can find lots of network CNI content network interface plugins. Okay, so some of the name I told you, but right now I'm using using this cluster of Kubernetes in the AWS cloud. So AWS behind the scene used VPC for overlay. So if you know VPC service in AWS, so their VPC they are using for working as overlay. Okay, so this support is being used by VPC network. But to implement the overlay, we have to run some program in both the nodes. And this program they're running as a pod. That's what you can see here. Okay, so these are one program running as a pod in one of the node, and this other program running in other node. And how you see this? Because we have a two nodes running at this point in time. Two nodes we are having. Okay, and if you run the ports command with O wide option, this command will tell you the detail of every individual port. So you can say this is the one, the port, and this port have the own personal IP address, but this port is running on the node 78. This port is running on the node 183. Okay, that's what you can see. It means if I have one more port, so one more node, okay, one more node. So what I want this port to be launched automatically in one more node. Why? Because if they does not launch in one more node as a C node, okay, this program called overlay program, then any content who run this guy, they don't have a connectivity to other port. Okay, so whenever you have the two things I'm explaining you together, whenever you want one port from one node can communicate to other node, then we need overlay concept. And to implement the overlay concept, we need some kind of plugin. Here we're using a plugin or program called AWS Node. Behind the scene, they're using VPC concept of AWS. But this overlay program will be run in every computer. And now we don't know how many computers we have. But per computer, per computer or per node or per worker node, we need one program. Not more than one, not less than one. Exactly one. Okay, one program. If you have 3 node, then 3 port will run. Okay, one by one, one per node. Now the point is, whenever you have this requirement, that if you have 3 node, you want 3 port. If you have 10 node, you need 10 ports, and 1 port per node. Whenever you have this requirement, okay, then we always launch the pod with a concept called daemon set. DS is daemon set. Which guys, this port is launched by this daemon set. We don't launch this port with deployment. And that is the difference between deployment and the daemon set. Okay, because if I launch a port from some image, obviously, as a container of the port from deployment, and if I set the replica 2, for example, they will launch 2, but there is no guarantee both the guys can run in single node. Okay, plus if I launch a port with deployment of replica 2, then if a third node gonna come up, still they use 2 only. To manually go and tell, hi, I want 3 port. But if your requirement to launch a port and your requirement is this port will run in every node 111 per each node automatically. As a more node gonna come up, they launch automatically more. Less node they automatically delete or terminate it. Whenever I have this kind of requirement, then launch the port with a daemon set. Okay, that means in the world of Kubernetes, if you want to launch the pod, that is the one who running the container, that is the one who running the program, to launch any pod, we have multiple way to launch the pod. One way we can launch the pod directly without anything. This is called mostly on a static pod. We can go and directly launch it this way. Okay. One way to launch the pod is called deployment, the way we have seen, where we mostly maintain the deployment strategy or the replicas. Okay. One way to launch the pod is called daemon set. In the short form is called DS. Okay. One way to launch the pod is called this concept called state full set, and so on. And deployment guys, deployment considered known as stateless. So what is stateless, stateful? We'll see. The stateful set. Okay. So to launching the pod, we have different way to launch the pod or container of the application. Depend on scenario to scenario, use case to use case. Okay, use case to use case. Okay. If your use case is you have a specific requirement in the Kubernetes cluster, we have multiple worker node, and I want every worker node we have, in my case as 4 worker node we have. I want every worker node we have 111 pod launch. Okay, and more worker node we have, as soon the more worker node gonna come up, because we can scale the cluster also. We have some way. Okay, we can add more machines on the fly as the need arise. Okay, so automatically more pod launch in this node also. One more pod they launch. Okay, if this is a requirement gonna come up, then we use daemon set. And when we need this requirement, one of the example is this one, overlay pod, or many example also. Sometimes guys, because I want this pod to be monitor, and for monitoring we need to install some program. This is called monitoring agent program, who can monitor this entire node. So if you have 5th pod gonna come, I also want to monitor this guy. So I want this one more program to be launched here. Or who will launch? Okay, so I want, as soon as the new node gonna come up, new pod for the monitoring could be installed there. So that is done by daemon set. So whenever this kind of requirement come up, daemon set is a one that we use for this purpose. Okay, for example, if you want to monitor the metrics, what is metrics? We'll see. We use Prometheus. So Prometheus has their own agents, okay, that we can launch with the daemon set. Okay, so this is the example. What is stateful set? We'll see. But if you have any application only, and the way I explained in my last class, so we have one pod, more load gonna come up, we will launch one more pod, more load gonna come up, we have one more pod. Now, does not matter they launch a one single node or multiple node. I want multiple replica of my application to accommodate more load from the customer in my web app. In this case, we can go for deployment. Okay, so the point is there's a lot of way to launch the code. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so I've given you a lot of information right now. Let me very quickly set up the things. No, Faizan, they're not using VPC peering. They are purely using VPC. Okay, pure VPC. So we go to VPC. There you can see there's some VPC they set up for you. Okay, and what is stateful, stateless? We will discuss, guys, in some time. Okay, so let me first set up the Argo city. So I'm going to Argo city need one namespace to be created. So this is the way we are setting the namespace. So new namespace has been created. But this is one practical I'm going to do very quickly. Then we go for a quick Q&A, and then I'll give you lab time to practice this. Guys, my whole and soul intention for this program 2 days job preparation is I want, guys, just after this 2 days, I think this is one of the quickest way possible in this world to prepare for the job. And it is not only job preparation. Okay, your job preparation look like we are preparing you, then we'll see some job gonna come up, we'll try to help you in the future. So that's not the game. The game is we have the job in Sinji and Accenture, we have the requirement, and whatever the requirement would be, accordingly we're preparing you so that we can directly place you there for the respective job. Okay, so I think this is the one of the best and quickest way to deploy and prepare, not prepare, I can say place for the job. Okay, only thing what I want from you, take this topic seriously. We will do a quiz also in 15 minutes, what we have discussed till now. Quiz is a way to do two things. It will revise the thing. Second thing, it will help you to understand your understanding. So if you're facing an issue, we'll somehow try to help you again if something you weren't able to understand. Okay, and plus also help us to assess, to see the assessment, so that by today, mostly on my exam tomorrow, we will shortlist you from Linux World side, so you can send your resume to the respective companies. Okay, and plus we keep on having multiple companies coming, guys. Till date also we keep on having multiple company. We now till date we just keep on posting the company name in Discord channel or by different platform or the in an internal WhatsApp group. This is what we are doing. But now we'll try, guys. Now as the new company gonna come up, we will quickly again onboard you in this kind of training, and any delta part whatever possible, we will try to help you quickly as a 1 day or 2 day of quick boot camp, and so that those who by chance does not able to select today, at least you have a further chance next week or maybe next to next week, depend, right? So we keep on having many more companies gonna come up. Okay. So what is the interview date? Mostly because these two companies has urgent requirement, mostly it could be scheduled in this week only, and based on the mutual discussion. Okay, for the fresher, what we have done last week, so they took the interview next week only, and they give the joining next to next week. I think within a week they give the joining, but it might not be the case for the experienced guys, because we have to check many other things also. Okay, we have notice period and many other things to be taken care. So we will have individual cases. Interview could be scheduled this week, and based on your final call, then depend upon both the mutual party decision accordingly. accordingly, we will decide. Okay, so there is a consultancy call in Linux world. Krishna, what I mean by this? Can you elaborate? What do you mean by consultancy call in Linux world? Okay, so that will be done. Okay, so let me implement, guys, the Argo CD part. So here, guys, they give you one pre-created manifest file. Okay, what they do, they will help you to install Argo CD, but this is nothing. It is a kind of operator. Okay, and when you run this file, they install Argo CD inside the Kubernetes. When it's Argo CD, so Argo CD is a kind of program running as a pod. But same time, they install a lot of, let me give the commands also here, step by step. Okay, so Argo CD installs a lot of things that they are doing up. They are setting the deployment, means pod, they're setting stateful set, they're setting a lot of network things, they are installing sort of secret, means service, means your load balancer, some secret database, data, I can say config files, and many other things rolled by RBAC. I'm talking about some kind of security. They're giving some security to Argo CD, so Argo CD can do something on your behalf. So a lot of things, guys, they're doing for you. Plus, they set up some CIDs. Okay, CIDs means I told you already. Your pod is one resource, deployment is one resource. So I want to add more resource in the Kubernetes called CID. So they launched one CID called application. It was not there. Now you'll see it there. Okay, so this is a command we can run to set up. And now if you see, there's one keyword was not there, I show you, but now you will have. Application. There's nothing there, but it has been created. Okay, so I'm just following along this document. Even though I'm keep on giving this command to you. Run this one, then this one. Now, if you see how many ports is running, so right now they're showing the port in the default namespace, but if you want to see how many ports they're running in the Argo CD namespace, then you can write port and Argo CD in this namespace. You can see the log port run by Argo CD. So this Argo CD internal port, that's what I was talking about. Argo CD running inside the Kubernetes as a port. That's what they're doing. Okay, but one more thing I want to add: if you run only the get port command, they will always show you the default namespace. So default namespace, the default namespace in the Kubernetes client side. But if you want to change your default namespace to Argo CD, then we have one command here we need here. So that's what I would like to set. This is one command we can write. It will change the default namespace in the client side. So I'm changing my current namespace to Argo CD. Now, whenever I run this command port, till now they are showing the port from a default namespace. Now they're showing the port from Argo CD namespace. So you don't have to type any namespace keyword. That's what we'll do here. Okay, that's what we can do here. Okay, it is not required, but right now we need to do so because Argo CD is giving you one app. Okay, to connect to Argo CD, and this app we need to log in with admin password, and for admin password you have to run this command that will give you the admin password to log in. So to run this command is compulsory to run. Okay, now we are going to run this command. Because Argo CD is a different applications. To you can connect Argo CD with command line or graphical also web app they give you. They give you. If you run this command, you need Argo CD command line tool. So there's a GitHub link here in the top. If you go to GitHub, there maybe somewhere, maybe in the release, you can find one software, and the software when you install, the software, you can find this software. So in my case, I'm using Windows, so I can install the software for the Windows, and this software will give you Argo CD command is an exe file. Download and just run directly. That is, I downloaded already into my one folder that I show you in my last class. You can download anywhere, does not matter. But in my Windows C drive, in the program file, Kubernetes, I have downloaded Argo CD here. Only thing I did change is after downloading the software, I renamed this file with Argo CD. Okay, so I can use Argo CD command. Otherwise, you can run the command Argo CD -windows.emd. So that will be a command name. But in my case, I only after download I rename to Argo CD. So my command will be Argo CD. But in your case, if it does not rename, your command will be Argo CD -windows-emd is the command name. So this command I will want to run here. Okay, so from the command line, this command is not working. I have to check my path actually, but when I go for my git bash tool, there I don't know why they set the path there. You have to further, but let me run this command here. But whenever you download the Argo CD command, you can run the command from that folder. Okay, but in your case, your command name would be Argo CD -windows-amd 64. This is what the name you will write. Okay, so this command will help me for my local Windows to connect to Argo CD in the command line. And why I want to connect? Only reason is right now to connect, because right now I have installed Argo CD first time. So they give me one command to access the admin password. And to access the admin password, so they have given this command, so I can get the admin password of my Argo CD. That's all. So this is the step by step. I write all the command. This document I'll share to you in a minute. So this is my admin password. Now I can access my Argo CD app. Okay, and Argo CD, guys, is running as a pod I told you. Okay, and this port, guys, has been exposed by services. This is called load balancer. So they are running some load balancers here, especially Argo CD server. But if you notice, guys, all the load balancers are cluster IP, and I told you cluster IP means they are running private world. But right now my Windows in the public world, I won't able to access to this load balancer, means no Argo CD program. So either you can change this type to node port or the load balancer type you can access. Or in the world of Kubernetes, any service that's cluster IP, if you want to connect from outside world, then we can use some tunneling. This called port forwarding from the client system where you have kubectl config file. And for this, they give this command for port forwarding. So this service, Argo CD server, is cluster IP, but I am forwarding my tunnel locally from my local Windows to this port number. Okay, so no one from outside can connect, but only your laptop can able to connect to this program. Now that's all your tunnel started. Now this is your local IP, connect to this port, and then you can see Argo CD come up. There's no certificate right now, that's okay. Now this is, guys, Argo city. Okay, and username is admin, password we don't know, so we have the password already. That was we accessed by this command. Give the password. Again, that's all. Now this entire Argo city running inside the Kubernetes, but it's Argo city. Argo city. Okay. Now Argo city app here, and this is the app who will help you to deploy anything in the Kubernetes. So let me show you how we can deploy. So what Argo city is talking about, very quickly, if I show you the diagrams, I just need 5 more minutes, then we guys can go for practicals by your own. When these practical, I can say. So it will work in this way. So we are maybe the DevOps engineer. We, in our own laptop, we create a YAML file by ourselves, or maybe done by Jenkins. This YAML file we upload to GitHub. Okay, and that's all. That's what we do. Then what we do, wherever we upload into GitHub, then this is what we tell to the Argo CD. Argo CD, we have to tell 2 things: where my code located, this code source. So Argo CD, we can go and pull the code from there. Then we will tell the Argo CD where to deploy, means the destination, and obviously destination would be Kubernetes. One Argo CD, okay. But right now, this Argo CD is running inside my own Kubernetes, so they can technically connect to this local Kubernetes. So if you see here, if you go to settings, right now Argo CD is connected to my own in cluster, means our own Kubernetes to the internal Kubernetes service. Okay, that's what they already connected. Okay, so only thing what we have to do right now, 2 things. First, we have to upload the code from our side, and second, we have to set up the Argo CD. This is called application in the Argo CD. And the application, we will tell 2 things: what is source and where to deploy. Okay, so what I'm doing, so now onward, in the world of Kubernetes, we are not going to deploy any pod by ourselves in default namespace or any other namespace. So let me do one thing. What is there in the default namespace? Let me delete all. You guys understand? I'm deleting only the things in the default namespace. Don't delete anything else, anywhere else. So I'm not creating anything in the default namespace. So no pod, no deployment. I'm doing right now. Let me give this command to clean the current Kubernetes setup. Okay, now everything to be done by Kubernetes. How? By the YAML file. This file. Who get this file? I explain this concept to you. So according to this file, I am going to launch a deployment with 3 pod from the image, let's say V1. That's the plan. Okay, so this file we have to upload in Kubernetes. So what I am going to do, in my last class, guys, I have created this Git repository. Okay, Git repository. This is what I created in my last class. Come on. Even though, let me open with the Git bash. So I have a Git repository already created my last class. Name is free job person. Okay, and this git, if you see the git status, they are syncing to the origin. Origin means the GitHub. Okay, so what I'm doing here now, in this file we have app, that's okay, but all the Kubernetes, this called resources, I am going to keep into this folder. You can give any folder name that I already copied. This is the file d.yml. This is what I copied here. This is the same file. Okay, now only thing what I'm doing at this point in time, let me do git add, git commit, let's say cube file with comment and git push. That's all. So my this duty is been completed. From my side, upload the GitHub, or maybe this can be done by Jenkins to upload in GitHub. First time I run this command, they will ask you the password of your GitHub. In my case, I already given, so they're not asking. So technically, according to my setup, my setup, so they have uploaded my code here. You can see this code is uploaded here into this folder. Okay, now only thing what we have to do once is to go to Argo CD, and create a new application in the Argo CD. Just give the name. Let's say my Linux World app is just a name. In the Argo CD, you give a project name. This go by default. So if you click here, they will give the name. This is default project. Okay, this is now is very important. This is what I'm talking about. Argo cities keep on checking in the GitHub. If new change come in the future, they automatically deploy. So we have to change sync policy to automatic. So you don't have to click on the Argo city any button. They will do automatically the future change. Okay. Now the source would be, this is what I was talking about, where your code located. They will take from the Git or GitHub. So my source is located at this URL of the GitHub. You can use mine also, or you can use your URL at this for practice. Okay, that's what they fetch. And here, where code located, my code is not located here. My code is located into this folder. This is the path where my code located. So you give the path name here. In my case, the path is cube folder. In my case, it's just a folder name. It could be any name also. So that's what I write here in the Argo city. And the destination would be my Kubernetes cluster. Right now I have only one Kubernetes cluster running locally. So this is a cluster URL. And I don't know, have you ever noticed or not, whenever you guys work on Kubernetes already have one service pre-created a different namespace. It is always there in the Kubernetes. If you ever noticed this one, you know what is this service? This service is a internal, loopback IP, something like this. So it's internal URL of the Kubernetes that is was listed here. And which namespace you want to deploy your app? I want to deploy as a default namespace. So right now in my default namespace, I have no port running. I want to launch my deployment here. Right? Or you can give other namespace. So that's all, guys. This has been done. This one-time setup. But when you create something here, behind the scene, they create an application actually. This Argo CD application is not here at this point in time, but as soon as I create, it will be created. So this application has been created. We're seeing something is going on, saying, and this is a beautiful diagram they created here. And I can say application has been created, was not there. Now it has been created. I think they created in the Argo CD namespace. One minute. Yeah, it is getting here, right? And you can see there's a sync. So behind the scene, what Argo City has done, they go to GitHub. This is called last sync. They go to GitHub. GitHub, we write this comment. So they go and get this latest data with this comment, right? And they download this code and sync this code to Kubernetes. So you can see here in the Kubernetes, they launch deployment, right? It means without going to Kubernetes, if you see here, without going to Kubernetes, okay, they launch one deployment for you. Deployment for you. Then they launch one replica set for you and then launch 3 ports for you, right? So you can see here, this port was not there, but it launched automatically. If you notice, guys, I didn't launch this port. I didn't use kubectl command. I didn't give kube config file also. Okay, I did not give anything. I only give the URL of the GitHub and everything to be deployed in Kubernetes. Kubernetes. It means if you want to launch anything in the Kubernetes, you update this one. For example, maybe you're interested to have more ports. So you don't need to learn any Kubernetes command, neither you need to connect. Okay. Only thing is you will come to your code. If you launch for more ports, just type 5 or let's 7. That's all. Okay. 7. And because I changed local, this is a local file. I just use git commit total 7 dot and let me git post. That's all. Just your git command here is very interesting. Git command is helping you for new deployment. It's pure git command, right? I'm not saying git post is doing, but it look like git is doing. Git is doing. So git is is pushing the code to GitHub. So they push the code here, GitHub here, and Argo Cities keep on watching these guys as sync because we enable the sync. Almost they have a time interval of, I think this by for 3 minutes. So every 3 minutes they will auto sync because we auto sync enabled. And whenever the next thing enabled, right now we see is 3 port only. But after this next timer come up, they will download this code. You can see maybe it might be have done, but they download this code. Okay, and they will have 7 port running. I don't need to touch, even though I can sync it manually if you want. Okay, but you can wait for some minute and can see automatically they launch 7 port, and that we can see from here also. But who is doing? It's done complete automated by Argo in some other way, but technically for the instruction perspective, okay, we are giving the instruction using GitHub. So GitHub is a single source of truth. That is what I am talking about. So there's this concept and this philosophy is known as GitOps. Again, this is what is the kind of is a famous philosophy in the today's world. Okay, that's what everyone is moving toward the GitOps principle in all the tools. Okay, that you see in a minute, they will launch 7. We can change the timer also in Argo cities. I don't want to go for that configuration file right now, but I think by default is 3 minutes somehow. So they will relaunch for you. Okay, so that is the idea. But right now, I don't have any service the way I told you in my last class. Without service, you won't able to access the port from outside world. How to create a service, I told you in my last class. Okay, so for service, I can use the command called kubectl expose expose, and let me create inside the cube folder because my Argo studies I only access this folder. So kubectl expose. Okay, and I can say I want to expose my deployment called myD on the type called load balancer that I explained in my last class. My port number will be 80. Okay, and this app what I'm using, I think the app what I created in my last class, that's running Flask, having the port called 5000. But again, I don't want to run this command, so I can run this command as a dry run. That is helping me to quickly create the code in the YML format and store, let's say, in the file called s.yml. So my file created, again locally they created. Let me give this command to you also here. Okay, so if you want to check how this file look like, this file has been created here. Sorry, my deployment is not here format, which actually I have to run in the namespace, actually in the namespace called default. Okay, so let me give this command to you because my default namespace I changed to Argo CD. So I run this command in the default namespace. So guys, this is service file. If you know, if you learn our Kubernetes uh, from the scratch, we will normally learn every keyword over here step by step. But right now we don't need to go for that part. But at least you understand from here, we have a service load balancer having the port 80. They connect to the port backend to this application port number, and the service type, cluster IP is load balancer. But right now, this code is not applied. If you see, I don't have any service running. How to apply? I am not going to apply by myself. What I'm going to do again, git add. Let me go out to my repo here. I say git add dot all the file add git commit. Let's say service. I am going to give a comment and git push. That's all. Now, whatever you want to add, remove, just tell to the GitHub, and whatever go to GitHub. Okay, Argo CD will kick in some time based on their time interval. If you see, based upon the time interval, they kick in. And if you see here, now see there are 7 port launch. I didn't do anything, right? I didn't click on the button. 7 port the launch. Beautiful, right? Everything completely automated. So it was not 7 initially, but without doing anything, just giving the instruction to GitHub, I'm running with the 7 port. And now I uploaded one more file here. Sorry, one more file here. So in some minute, you will see your service will also come up. And if you want to sync by default by yourself, if you don't want to wait, you can do right now. Why not? Again, click on refresh, then load the new code, and then the sync. You can see automatically one new service has been created. Has been created. Yeah, fantastically created with the load balancer, right? And load balancer type means, because I'm using EKS cluster, EKS will use behind the scene AWS ELB load balancer. So they launch this ELB load balancer, and this public IP of the ELB load balancer. And behind this load balancer, I'm running with 7 port. It means when you hit this load balancer on port 80, you will connect to one of the port. That's what you can see. Okay, but everything is completely automated, right? That's what the power of this YML file and Argo CD. Okay, and to kick this is the demo I show you already. Let me show you one more time. Okay, we'll head this URL, HTTP protocol. this URL, your application will be connected. But in my last class, I have using get endpoint call /info, if you remember. So it will be the info. Here, this is the output gonna come. Fantastic, right? Fantastic. Okay. But if you know, I was using version 1 in my app, in my deployment. And this version 1, if you remember in my last class, I does not create any endpoint called me endpoint. It is not there. It's not there. Okay. So my developer will create one more endpoint by writing the code, and I've done the complete Docker image build, and I have created an image called V4, if you remember. That's what I updated in my last class. Okay. And now, and that's one thing, guys, I'm just changing this code. That is locally, and I'm doing nothing, just get commit m new app and get push. That's all. Automatically, Argo City will see in some minute. There's a new code gonna come out with a new version. So they apply this file, and the deployment will use the strategy. Okay, without any downtime. Okay, they relaunch a new port with a rolling update strategy. Okay, if you see here, right now, your roll out command on the history, the last roll out of your deployment name called myid. So last revision was 2, but you can see in some time the revision will change to 3, means new app will be loaded. And as soon as the new app will be loaded, then this endpoint was there in the new version of my app that is going to launch automatically. Okay, by the Argo City gonna come up here. Okay, so that's what you'll see. Even though I can run some loop here to check. So I'm running some while in loop and asking the curl command to go to this URL. Sleep for 1 second. Echo, I'll use some new line. Okay, and then is a simple script. So they keep on curl this side, and as soon as side up, they will get the output whatever right to this URL. Okay, but right now port is still not launched because my deployment is not yet kick in. Rolling update. Okay, still 2. Why? Because my Argo City still does not go to GitHub. They take almost 3 minutes. Again, decrease time. That's a different point. But you can see in some time it will again, and you can see it out automatic. That's a beautiful thing, right? So I think that makes sense, right? Now you understand about GitOps and Argo City. Again, many more things we can do in the world of Argo City. I'm touching some of the key things, so at least you could be kind of eligible to talk about Argo CD and country deployment and this GitOps concepts while doing the interview, because in Accenture there's a higher chance they will talk about Argo CD and GitOps concepts. Okay, so that's it, guys. Now I'll open the Q&A. Any query if you want to ask till now, you can ask me. Then we have a assessment by my team very quickly. So Dilip, I think, can you ping me? Are you ready for the assessment? Plus, then we go for lab practice time. What we discussed till now, we will practice. Let's see something happening right behind the scene. Something will happen in Argo CD screen. If you see some port is launching, see, fantastic, right? My app is up. So everything is completely automated, right? My app is now up. Is up in Argo City. they have rolled out by Argo City. New version of deployment gonna come up. New port is been and the is so a lot of things terminated and created and app is up here also and obviously here also. Okay, that is so beautiful. Okay, so that's guys one point. Anyone who does not want to use EKS cluster, you can go for Minikube setup. Minikube setup to run run your Kubernetes cluster locally in your Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, so Minikube is very simple. If you want, I asked my team to share my video of Minikube, but it's very simple to run local Kubernetes. But console-wise, exactly same. Command-wise, the exact same. Everything works exactly same. But you do run locally. If you does not want EKS cluster, then you can use Minikube to run Kubernetes cluster locally. Okay, so that's all, guys. Any quick queries you can ask. How can get a 3-month notice period if you want to switch, because nowadays all companies have 3 months. Not everyone, Vishal. Everyone, Vishal. But if we have this requirement, then one of the way would be you can plan, because Lansford we have keep on coming a lot of company per week, per month. So some company we already have a requirement that is coming in May month, okay, or April month. So we can do one thing. We have some company, they have already given us a requirement for both freshers and the experienced guys. So you can start preparing for those companies. Now you have enough time. So if you think you are maybe not so much comfortable with all the tool right now in the 2 days, so you have enough time, just prepare yourself for 3 months. All the tool is very detailed. Okay, so that you can start preparing for the company for the April and May month. Okay, so that's what you can do, but not every company have this 3 month notice period. But PT could be the right one. Company thing will vary, because in the professionals we have a hike or switch cases. It is it's not like a fresher we have anything generalized. So per company wise, per profile wise, per individual candidate wise, we have to do some profiling. Okay, so is an individual cases. So I can suggest if you can connect individually to Preeti, so she would be the right one, because she's the one who actually coordinating with all HRs and other teams for the next process. So I think she would be the right one to give you the answer, the perfect and the right answer. Okay. And Prashant, if you use Minikube, then you can use load balancer, load balancer cluster type there. It is working mostly in the cloud world, mostly. Okay, so if you're using Minikube local cluster, so instead of load balancer, we can use node port. That also give you exposed outside world. Let's use node port. Okay, and then the IP of the Minikube work like a public IP. So that IP you can connect from Windows of outside world. So that's what we can do if you're using local cluster or Minikube cluster. Okay. Yeah, this command I'll tell you. I'll share you, so you can practice. So what I am doing, all this command as is, I am posting in the same file. There's a README file of your same GitHub. Okay, so let me post in the README file. Git commit and push. So same location, you can get all the command in my GitHub. So this is the GitHub URL. that I think you have now. So in the README file, you will have all the commands. Okay, so let me share this link if you don't have. So I'm sharing this link, guys, to your this path. So can we share the recording? I think we won't able to share the recording, guys. Same thing I told you. I think we tell you last class also, we won't able to share the recording. But I'm here. My team will be there in the Discord channel, in your WhatsApp group. Practice this. We are sharing all the reference document, this commands, all the screenshots. Practice this. If you're facing any issues, my team will be there to help you further. So we can ask your doubt next week, next to next week. So we'll be there, guys, with you to solve your doubts. Yes, Abhijit, there's a way. Argo City also have a way to deploy Helm chart. So there's a lot of way to deploy in Kubernetes. Helm chart. There's a concept called customize, concept called kubectl command. Argo City support all. So when you create Argo City application, at that point in time, they ask you that you are going to create application. You want to deploy using which way? Okay. So right now they are not showing you here, because as soon as you put your repository, they automatically figure out by some way. Okay. Your repository is built using Helm chart or customized, so they will give the further options. Here, they support all. Quiz is the only way of sorting the interview. Himanshu, quiz is one of the way from our side to shortlist. Second thing we see, are you there with me for 2 days complete? That means you are getting all the content what we are delivering to you. Plus we also ask you to do this hands-on. So we will right now, after this break, I will quickly present some project right now. So that's also we want you to done at your end. So there are some few things we'll check. Okay, but for the first shortlist from our side, then from our side we might do. I think Preeti is the right one to update you. We might do one quick mock practice or mock interview maybe quickly. So that will also help you in preparing, plus also help us to understand that you are prepared enough. Because right now the job is come from our reference, so we want to send them. That's what we keep on doing till date. The trained participants for this role to maintain again our standards also from Linux world side. So that could be one thing we might do. Okay, but yeah, be there with me for 2 days and this quiz and the project what you are going to do live with me in some time. So these are two few things it help us to shortlist guys from our side. So happy to attend the session. I have 1 year experience of IT as a associate software engineer, then 2 year career gap in, so I can catch chance to done internship, occasionally doing projects. Yes, see, but this is again, I told you there's a multiple different cases. Cases to cases thing will vary, and company to company. So we have all the different cases with us. So sometimes we have to do profiling from our side. Sometimes we have to provide a certificate from our side as intern certificate. Sometime, some way we have to provide some letter from our side. There were many cases. I think every individual one has a different case. Okay, some has a drop off for 3 days. Someone don't have a job from last 2 years. Someone has a 10-20 year experience from very different field altogether, like Windows administrator or from DBA guys. So cases to cases, and then further requirement to requirement, we have to map. Okay, but the way we are working, I think we have for every cases we have some way to map it. Okay, so what say you're talking about, we can help you in this regard also, in providing you the DevOps engineering job. Okay. When you start Kubernetes proper classes, so anyone who wanted to learn Kubernetes, for my side, there's two things, guys. We have individual courses also, only Kubernetes from basic to advanced, everything. Only Jenkins, only Argo CD, only Service Mistio. Every tools I have a detailed training. There's two way. Either you can do with me online, that we are going to start soon live with me, or you can go for recorded course also from Hashtag portal. So there's two way. Or anyone who want to learn the entire DevOps, this we have a, I think we have one of the biggest DevOps program we have with us. This called Specialized in DevOps, where we cover Terraform, Ansible, Kubernetes, Argo CD, Istio Service Mesh, Maven, ELK Stack, Prometheus, Grafana, or maybe many more tools, right? So that also, if you want to join, you can join. Anyone who want to learn, okay. So that's also we are going to start soon. So again, my team will help you for the details if you want. Okay. So I think my team can update me, Sayed or or Dilip. Our quiz is ready, so we can quickly start. By the meantime, yeah, quiz is ready, guys. So by the meantime, any quick queries if you want to ask. I think Himanshu, I told you already on which basis we Linux World is going to shortlist. Okay, and providing the resume to the Accenture and things that I think I told you already. So, Prashant, we use secret. Secret is one thing we use. Talk very quickly about secret. But the way we use secret, we use a different approach. Okay, what approach we use, I'll very quickly tell you in some time when we do the next practicals. Okay, so Argo should only Sujit telling the Kubernetes to do this deployment. Okay, so this is what Argo CD is asking the Kubernetes to do. But internally, this image has been downloaded by Kubernetes. And even though Kubernetes is not downloading this image, actually, let's connect to container engine, like say Docker. Finally, Docker or your container engine is the one who download this image. Yeah, this and then launch the container and the code. Way to set up Argo CD for the Argo CD. I'm not saying this is the best way. Right now, my plan is to just show you quickly how and what is use of Argo CD. But if you talk of production perspective, there will be many more things to be taken care of in the Argo CD world for the production use cases. So, how to prepare for the resume? Those who will be shortlisted from our side today or by maximum tomorrow. Okay, my team or my Priti will take this lead, and before we send the resume to these two company, we'll ask you. We'll go. I will help you guys to prepare the resume based on this current profile. Okay, so we'll help you. Don't worry about this part. Yes. Is there any consultancy call for career path session in cloud and DevOps domain, as we already done certified project in Azure cloud looking for offline cloud domain? Yes, Krishna, if you want, we can do so. I ask my team, or you can connect to our team, maybe Gibran Sayed or maybe Mona. They will help you. They will guide you what could be the suggestion from our side, if you want to move to DevOps or cloud, or maybe I can suggest you can go for cloud ops, cloud with DevOps. That could be a better suggestion that you can go for. So you can connect to any of these members; they will help you. So what is just cluster IP, Sujit? Mostly some of the code what we are running, okay, what we are running are very important applications. For example, databases. So database are the workload of the applications. I don't want to expose to the outside world. I don't want anyone from public world, public side, they can connect. So to connect a database not to outside world, I want my database to be run within the on premises, within the isolated world. So the service that is running behind the database, we would like to run on the cluster IP, because database I don't want to expose to outside world. So if you know multi-tier architecture, we have multiple front end and back end and databases. So front end is the one mostly we expose to outside world load balancer, and all the internal component like databases, we does not want to run and connect, allowed to connect to outside world. Only local guys can connect, other service can connect, other port can connect within the same cluster of Kubernetes. There we use cluster IP service. How to run Argo CD app locally? What do you mean locally here? Locally, wherever you have wherever you have Kubernetes, Argo should run inside it. Now it is your choice. You want to run Kubernetes in Minikube locally, on EKS cluster, or any other cluster, does not matter, or maybe OpenShift. Wherever you have Kubernetes or the OpenShift, inside this you can run Argo CD. Yes, having a global certification always has give you extra advantage, Shivangini. Okay, always. So right now this company is looking for mostly for DevOps, especially Kubernetes, okay, or maybe OpenShift. So if you have a CKA or CKAD Linux Foundation certification or OpenShift 280 from Red Hat, that is always give you extra benefit. Okay, extra benefit. So if you have it, that's always nice. But right now it's not required. Okay, but obviously you will get extra benefit, extra point in the terms of between comparison to two guys, you will get extra benefit. Yes, we have almost every AWS training available: AWS machine learning, AWS data engineering, AWS DevOps, CSA. Security, I deliver for the corporate, but it's not yet open for public guys. But we might launch AWS security specialists also publicly. So we will update you in the group whenever we launch. Sumit. So there's one more concept, guys, in the secure in SVC. We have 4 different kind of SVC in Kubernetes. One is cluster IP running in the private world. One is load balancer, when you have to connect some external load balancer like ELB. Or we have a node port where you're running the load balancer locally inside the Kubernetes and want to expose to the outside world, more like this, but is a local internal Kubernetes personal software-based load balancer. And that's called external name. External name. So if you want to connect to any external service to application, one of the good example is you're running multi-tier app. Okay, but you want your front end back end to be run as a pod inside the Kubernetes. But your database like MySQL, MongoDB, you does not want to run in the Kubernetes. You want to use some cloud service, like if you know AWS RDS service. Okay, so MySQL is running in the RDS service AWS cloud. That is not a part of Kubernetes. To connect your front end and back end to the MySQL that are running outside the Kubernetes, then there we use external service type to be used. In that kind of use case, we can use external type. Okay. I have CKD certificate. That's obviously it will global certificate is always helpful because the company has a compliance whenever the projects come up. So depend upon the project to project, some project has a compliance that the the team should have some global certification. If you have, obviously it will help you. Can you give some example of CID? This example of CID, what I was talking about is, so if you want to do something like Argo CD here, Argo CD here, in Argo CD, whatever you do, you will do with help of application. This is called Argo CD application. This is what is doing everything for you. Argo CD is part of Kubernetes. So for Kubernetes perspective, whatever you do in the Argo CD, okay, what you're doing, you are doing application, right? Or creating the application, or managing the application. Okay. So technically look like it's doing by Argo CD, but technically it is done by Kubernetes only. And the Kubernetes, whatever you want to do, everything we need keyword, that's called resource. But this resource is not available in the Kubernetes. So when you show Argo CD, they will give you one more keyword that's called application keyword. So what you see here is a graphical, but behind the scene, they are done by this keyword. This keyword. This keyword. Okay. And this keyword is nothing called resource, and resource is not there in the Kubernetes. We add extra. Any resource that you add extra is extension, and that extension is known as CRT, custom resource definition. Yes, usual. Your Argo CD can connect to any cluster running on premise or on the cloud or cloud services. One Argo CD can connect to multiple Kubernetes cluster. How someone approach a career path as a DevOps engineer? If you talk about others, if you think you want to approach almost any jobs in any kind of company, and right now we are helping you only the part what these companies looking for. But if you want to be the specialized, you can be part of one of my upcoming training of DevOps where you learn everything. That means you can go and apply for any DevOps job in any company, right? Because we are going to learn everything about DevOps in this training if you want to join. How to manage or check all the objects deployed in Argo CD namespace in Argo CD UI. UI, Himanshu, does not give you any thing, not everything. I can say not everything means everything. There's some options they give you. You can go and do the things, but they does not give you everything to be managed. Okay. For this, Argo CD also have YAML file. And there are a lot of keyword Argo CD support. If you go to Argo CD document, user guide and manual guide. So there are a lot of things, guys, they support. Argo CD is itself a big tool. Even I have my personal training only on Argo CD. Okay. So there are a lot of things we can do in the Argo CD. And Argo CD also have the kind of YAML file. Okay, where we can create our own file and do a lot of keywords. Here, this is the file. Where this is my source, this is my source from where we can get the code. This is my destination, which Kubernetes cluster I want to launch this application. So whatever you've done from the graphical, same thing we have a file. But this file gives you many more keywords, many more options to be implemented. Okay, if anyone who know Helm, you can also implement Helm chart with Argo CD. Okay. So now, guys, very quickly, for, I think, almost every questions I replied. So let's go for quick quiz. Then we go for break time. Okay. So I said, guys, this is two things we'll do at this time. There's a lab time plus the break time. So we'll go almost for 1 hour. So then this 1 hour we can go for break time, it means lunch time, or plus the lab time. So what I discussed till now, just go and practice this. Any doubt is WhatsApp group is there. You can ask that out there, or Discord channel there to ask the doubt there. But before this, quickly please complete this quiz. So Dilip, over to you, and Sayed, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, sir. So here we go, guys. Let me quickly share my screen.
Yes, Anusha, you can get this. What you're asking, you will definitely get this.
Okay. So guys, here it is. Let me quickly share you the link of this in your chat box here. So yeah. So I've shared you guys the link in your chat box and also in your WhatsApp group. So you guys can quickly start joining this meeting. And guys, please make sure you join with your proper names. So just waiting for another 2 minutes more for everyone to quickly join in here.